What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. So we have an update here from a Classic Physique competitor some of you may not have heard of. Zeek Andrews is currently about 6 weeks out from the New York Pro. And you know, Zeek Andrews is another good example here. Classic Physique has been getting more and more competitive every year since its inception. It just seems like we're always seeing more and more athletes come out all the time that could be future stars of this division. Now, Zeek actually came in second place at the New York Pro in 2021, and he's coming back to try and improve on his placing so he can punch his ticket to the Olympia. He's got great structure, great flow, sweeping quads, and it looks like he's going to bring some great conditioning. I tell ya, his ability to find the goon light looks like it's always on point for sure. And he looks crazy striated from the front and the side, but Zeek definitely needs some work from the back, I think. He lacks a bit of detail in the back and hamstrings. He could use more size from the back overall too, but he's definitely made improvements since his last show, and if he can qualify early and spend the rest of the year preparing for the Olympia, he should come in bigger overall and should keep climbing the ranks in Classic Physique. So be on the lookout for Zeek Andrews in that Classic Physique lineup at the New York Pro. Another competitor looking at climbing the ranks this year is Keone Pearson. And when we talk about improvements, Keone is one guy who's made a ton of measurable improvements from a size standpoint. And considering his morning weight is still around 221, 223, he's still well within the striking distance to make the 212 weight cap. He could probably put on even more size and still be able to make weight from what we're seeing here. After the Olympia, the feedback from the judges was that he needed a thicker and wider back, so that's been an area of focus for Keone, and so far, it looks like mission accomplished. I'm sure we'll get a show announcement from Keone soon, and then we'll truly know how much Keone has improved. So we did get a show announcement from Andrew Jacked earlier this week, and we're starting to see a lot more updates come out from Andrew. And you know, he was relatively quiet after his third place finish at the Arnold. Andrew returned to Dubai after the Arnold for some rest and recovery, which he earned probably more than any bodybuilder at the Arnold, really. I mean, I'd say we would all need some time to recover after 45 days of relentless torture at the Psycho Fitness training camp. But yeah, Andrew Jacked announced his plan to reclaim his Texas Pro title this coming August, which will put him on stage with the likes of Hunter Labrada and Blessing Awodibu. Now that's a pretty exciting lineup to start, but how are these guys going to stack up against each other? Well, to start, I think it's safe to say that Blessing won't be able to beat Andrew Jacked or Hunter Labrada. Although Blessing is confident that he'll win Texas, Chicago, and Tampa, he's planning on doing all three, I really can't see him winning Texas at least. Blessing definitely made improvements in the upper body since the Olympia where he tied for last place, but his legs just haven't caught up yet, especially from the front shots. I think that close call that Blessing had on the hack squat about 2 months ago was probably worse than he let on, but he's also coaching himself this year too, which is something Blessing has never attempted before, so there's some unknown territory that Blessing's entered. Hunter Labrada, on the other hand, looks overall improved so far working with Ben Chow, and he's been working on his weak points, mainly his midsection, and I think he has the best shot at beating Andrew from the back and from the side. Hunter definitely has better hamstrings as of right now than Andrew, but with another round with Psycho Fitness, I think Andrew will most likely make even more improvements and take that win in Texas. I'll have to do a prediction video as we get closer to the show, but as of right now, the updates from Andrew Jacked are starting to ramp up, and I think he's the frontrunner to win the show and defend his title. But you know, Hunter hasn't taken his foot off the gas since the Olympia either, and he's definitely improved himself. It's going to be a good matchup to watch this coming August. Now next up, after suffering from a type 2 pec tear earlier this week, Charles Griffen posted up a video of how the pec tear is looking right now and how it's currently feeling. So Charles had this to say about it here. 4 days post-injury, bruising is fading, still inflamed and swollen. It's never been any pain, which is what kept me kinda hopeful before actually knowing no surgery was needed. The situation is still shitty, but considering the alternative, I dodged a huge one. And for the people saying the weight was too heavy, stop it. One of the risks of bodybuilding. I do that weight weekly for reps, simple freak accident getting them into place. Now for anyone out there that follows Charles Griffen, you'll know that Charles likes to throw around that heavy weight. And I think that's what attributes to that hard, dense muscle that he carries around. From both a size and conditioning standpoint, Charles made the absolute most of his rebound after the Olympia. But look, regardless of how often you physically handle that heavy weight on a regular basis, slinging around that much weight too often clearly came at a cost. Especially at 40 years old, this was honestly bound to happen eventually, as far as I'm concerned. But after an injury like this, most athletes come out and say something to the effect of, the weight was too heavy. But Charles Griffen is the only athlete I have ever seen that actually tore a muscle using weight most of us would never even dream of attempting, and says that the weight was not too heavy. It's just a whole other mentality altogether. And I mean, look, all the respect in the world to Charles. To throw around the 170s consistently for any age, you gotta give this guy his props. But all that hard work is worth absolutely nothing when you tear your pec like this. And from the sounds of it, he's gonna go right back to this style of training after he heals up. And look, I'm not gonna sit here and question the way Charles Griffen decides to train, but hopefully he considers adjusting his training moving forward at least a little bit so he can get the most out of the rest of his competitive bodybuilding career. Because like I said, he is 40 years old at this point, and clearly he's still competitive from a physique standpoint, not to mention, a total animal. But needless to say, this year just became a defining year for Charles Griffen. So Charles is really going to have to pick and choose his shows carefully if he plans to requalify for the Olympia. Like I said, there's not a doubt in my mind that Charles made the most of his rebound after the 2022 Olympia, and I just hope all that hard work won't be for nothing. So best of luck to Charles on a speedy recovery. Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.